Welcome to the Winchester Life Podcast. Through insider access to industry pioneers, first-hand looks at cutting-edge tech advancements, and the stories behind the scenes that have shaped the world of shooting sports and hunting as we know it, we'll dive into the sacred places like deer camps and duck blinds, talk about innovation and shooting tips with the world's best, while revisiting age-old traditions of hunting and shooting still alive in our country. I'm your host, Jason Brown, and welcome to the show. The Winchester Life Podcast is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, Winchester Repeating Arms, Winchester Safes, White Flyer Targets, Folds of Honor, Birchwood Casey, Walkers, Winchester Pet, and Winchester Optics.
So here we are, the NWTF Convention 2025, and the people, it's just in the morning of day two. We got, all the attendees are starting to make their way over to the Winchester booth here. We're in the Winchester booth with Grant Jeremiah, and he is with Winchester Ammunition. And I think one of the big things this year is just the all-out release of Longbeard TSS, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's our big thing here. I mean, we also did a waterfowl TSS, last call TSS in the fall, but for NWTF, for turkeys, Longbeard TSS, that's the best you can get.
Yeah.
And we're super excited about this product, to push it out there. Had a lot of people talking about it, a lot of good excitement. Longbeard XR, has been a staple for many years now and revolutionized the lead industry. And this Longbeard TSS is just taking it to the next step.
Yeah, so Longbeard XR, obviously, about 10 years ago, maybe a little more than 10 years ago, was introduced. What was it that made that so unique at the time?
So the secret sauce in Longbeard XR is the shot lock resin. So buffering shells has been around for forever, but this new shot lock resin that Winchester developed, it goes in there and it fills all the interstitial space. So traditional Grex buffering, micro bead buffer, it does a very good job, but it doesn't fill everything. Yeah. This resin, it's a liquid, fills 100% the interstitial space. And then as it comes out of the barrel, it comes out as a slug, protects all that shot, keeps it perfectly round, and then comes out, fractures, falls away, allowing that shot to go downrange, perfectly round for a lot more pellets on target than traditional lead, extended ranges, and better penetration.
Yeah, I remember. It was a massive shift in how technology and shot shell design, especially for turkey loads. So specifically, what do you do for Winchester Ammunition?
So my title is I am the supervisor of new products and process engineering. I've been there for 5 years. Generally, I work on all the new products for shot shell, for waterfowl, turkey, even target loads. Yeah. And everything there.
So how'd you get into this space in particular?
So I started off with a mechanical engineering degree, and from there I graduated, went into robotics, and started working in the automation industry. Found this job. When I was growing up, some of my earliest memories are hunting with my dad, going out in the dove fields and playing around, and I'm sure getting in trouble doing all the moving too much, but hunting has been a big part of my life ever since I was a little kid. So when I saw this opportunity open up, I was like, man, I've got to go for that and try it. And as luck would have it, I was the one they hired, and been working there ever since.
Yeah. So let's talk about Longbeard TSS. Talk about how that the process of designing that shell and turkey load, and what makes it so special.
So when you talk about TSS, obviously we talked about Longbeard XR. So Longbeard XR is a traditional lead load. Whenever you talk about TSS, the TSS stands for tungsten, and TSS itself is actually 18 density tungsten. So it's a very high density product. So lead is around 11 grams per cubic centimeter density, where tungsten is 18 grams per cubic centimeter. So that higher density product allows you to get more shot into the shell, and it also allows you to use smaller shot sizes that perform the same as larger shot sizes would with lead. So like a traditional lead 5 performs very similar to a tungsten number 9.
Okay.
But the caveat is you get about 2.5 times the pellets in that shell.
Yeah.
So you're getting, in our 12 gauge 3-inch we have now, you're getting over 850 pellets in that shell. which is a massive amount.
It's unreal, yeah.
And then when you look at a traditional lead load, you're getting 325. So you're getting over 2.5 times the pellets. And it carries that weight retention downrange because of the density. So your on-target performance at, say, 60 yards, you're getting 10 times the amount of pellets in a 10-inch circle that you would over traditional lead. So huge benefits, huge increases there, and you're still getting the same or better penetration depending on what shot size you go with.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy. I mean, that's one thing. Penetration is something that a lot of people tend to forget about when they talk about turkey hunting. It's easy to look at a pattern and see all the holes in the paper, but just because you have a hole doesn't mean you're going to kill a turkey.
Sure.
You know, you can use a 7.5 lead target load and get a lot of holes, but we all know that at a certain range it starts to fall off. So at 60 yards, like I said, we have a block over here that we shot at 60 yards, and it's got about 2.5, 2.75 inches of penetration all the way through a turkey's head. It's going to be dead as could be. So that density is what really drives the product, and that in itself is just what makes that such a more devastating product on turkeys compared to even our traditional lead loads.
Yeah, and I think the benefits too are the sub-gauge story, right?
Correct. So sub-gauges, when you look at like a 410, that's becoming very popular. A lot of people don't like recoil or they got kids. You take a 410, you've got almost 300 pellets in that in number 9 compared to like the 300 we were just talking about in the 12 gauge.
Yeah.
And you're getting actually about 2 times the pellets on target at 60 yards because that, once again, that higher density product, it flies straighter, flies a little more true. So you get a 410, it's just as deadly or even more deadly than a 12 gauge 3-inch traditional lead load.
Yeah.
So you're really getting sub gauges for performance there. It is 100% you should go with TSS. That's the way to go.
I think so too. And it's one of these things when you have kids, younger hunters, the ability to have a lethal load, turkey load, without it. I remember when I started shooting that, when you're sighting in patterning your turkey loads, it kicks you like a mule. I mean.
Yeah, so with the 410, obviously you're getting, it's a lower volume shell, but you're getting a lot less recoil compared to a 12 gauge. So great for kids, great for people who have a little more recoil sensitivity if you're a little older or someone who's a little smaller framed. 410, even 28 gauge, very popular, very good option, and you're going to kill birds a lot longer and farther range than what you probably should.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good stuff.
Yeah. So the future. I know you can't tell me, but are you guys working on anything new coming up here in the next year or two?
I mean, the big thing. I mean, we're always working on new stuff.
Yeah.
In the turkey space, we'll see. But right now, we're excited to see how this product goes. But we're always innovating in terms of waterfowl or upland or even target loads. I mean, Winchester, that innovation is what drives us. We're always looking for the next best thing. And the consumers, as we're talking to them here today, that's what they're constantly asking for is, hey, what's the next best thing? What can I get my hands on that's going to help me in the field be successful? So super excited with this Longbeard TSS, and there's been a lot of good talk about it, and I think people are going to go out and they're just going to have success, and next year is going to be the fun one because everybody's going to come back with all their good stories.
Yeah, that's what's great about this NWTF show is the interaction with the consumer, the feedback, the honest conversations, and you learn a lot. You really do.
Yeah. No, it's a great show. It's good turnout. I think we're going to be really busy today and tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Grant. Appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, appreciate it.
This portion of the Winchester Life Podcast has been brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, a world leader in delivering innovative products. Winchester is the American legend, a brand built on integrity, hard work, and a deep focus on its loyal customers. Considered one of the world's leading ammunition manufacturers, Winchester has built its reputation on delivering innovative ammunition products, providing top-shelf customer service, and demonstrating industry leadership. To learn more, visit Winchester.com. Winchester Optics. The Winchester Supreme line of optics offers rifle scopes, binoculars, spotting scopes, and rangefinders for all of your shooting and hunting needs. To learn more, visit worldofwinchester.com. Winchester Repeating Arms. The guns that work with a reputation built on reliability. Winchester rifles and shotguns are built tough, with superior fit and finish. Winchester firearms are built to exceed expectations. To learn more, Visit WinchesterRepeatingArms.com.
So we got Foster Bartholow here. He's a Winchester shooter. Winchester Ammunition has, you and your brother, right?
Yep.
For a while, right? Sponsored?
Long time. Yeah, it's been 15, 16 years we've been with Winchester, and loving every year that we're with them.
Yeah, I mean, you guys do well. I know we've done interviews and stuff, product reviews in the past, and but you guys are, what's your specialty right now?
So my brother and I both are primarily trap shooting, but I'm definitely starting to dabble more into the sporting clays.
Okay. So sporting clays wise, we've done a lot of content creation, a lot of stories with the sporting clays world. That seems to be kind of the up and coming. It's cool. The sporting clays is the cool thing.
I mean, they're all fun to shoot. Like if you're outside shooting, you can't complain with that. But yeah, it's sporting clays is definitely growing tremendously.
Yeah.
Trap shooting, it's the fastest growing sport in high schools throughout the U.S., so there's a lot of positives.
Yeah, and what's your schedule look like this year?
It's going to be busy, very busy. Yep.
When's it start?
As soon as it warms up. Right now it's like negative 15 in South Dakota, so we're not going out unless we're shooting geese or anything like that. But once it starts warming up, we'll get going with a lot of practicing.
Okay.
We have a lot of youth clinics coming up, so we're very excited about that.
So, shooting aside, let's talk about turkey hunting. You're a turkey hunting fanatic.
Now we're getting into it.
Now we're getting into it. So there's a couple stories I want to talk to you about. One, I want to start out with the story of the 410.
Yep.
So this is sub-gauge shooting it's really kind of been hot, I guess I should say, for the last 5 or 6, 7 years maybe. Sub-gauge hunting is getting more and more popular, but talk about this story you have with this 410. It's crazy.
Sure. Like you said, the introduction with TSS is really bringing back the guys that love to shoot the sub gauges.
Yeah.
And it's incredible because you're seeing sub gauges have the same equivalence in payload and pellet counts of what like a 12 gauge is performing at. So way back when, 4 years ago, I got one of the Browning over-under 725 fields. Yep. And what I really love about the over-unders is the ability to have 2 different choke tubes.
Sure.
In case you have one coming super close, you can have a modified.
Yep.
And then the top one obviously being a full choke.
Yep.
So you have 2 different ranges that you can always, no matter where the bird's at, you're good to go. But that being said, we started using this 410 and put on an 8-point red dot on top of it. And we've used it for personal hunts, friends, family, clients. Anyone that wants to shoot one with a 410, check that off the list. They're more than welcome to. But it was really cool because last year, the 4th year that I've used it, I checked off the box with number 100 being my Black Hills turkey.
That's crazy, man. 100, not to mention 100 gobblers over the course of 4 years is crazy to be a part of that many successful hunts. But specifically with a 410, that's extremely rare, in my opinion. I'm a turkey hunting guru.
And again, it wasn't just me. It was friends, family, client, like anyone that wanted to use it. Like, just make sure, it wasn't just me. I'm not just going out hammering turkeys all the time.
Yeah, no. So what's the range, effective range? Have you been shooting TSS? Obviously, Longbeard TSS just came out last year. Early on, you probably got to shoot some of it last year before it was released, but have you been shooting a TSS load through there, or is it just Longbeard XR up until last year?
I was shooting the Browning TSS.
Yep.
Just with the 410, I love the performance of that.
Yep.
And now that Winchester has the Longbeard TSS, definitely switching over to that. Getting really good performance out of it, so I want to continue shooting that.
So what's the pellet count? What's the pattern board look like at 20, 25, 30, 40 maybe?
Yeah, I mean pellet count, I don't go that crazy. I just look at the patterning board. I did a review video basically shooting at 20 yards, like out to 90 yards, just to see. So if anyone's interested on that, they can check out the Prestige Outdoors, and that video's on there.
Okay, yeah.
But I would say, effective range, that's kind of a loaded question as is. But typically we're not shooting anything over 35 yards anyways.
Yeah.
So we try to get them
close. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's obviously the
and that's
goal.
kind of the fun part with the 410, the challenge of getting them in close and shooting them with, literally one of the smallest guns you can for turkey hunting.
So on that stock, you told me for every gobbler, there's a little scratch in there, a little notch.
Oh yeah, guys think I'm crazy because I'm over there putting notches on a really nice stock, but it's really cool because I had the year and then how many we shot, and then so over the course of 4 years, it's just kept adding up, and
that's awesome, man.
It's the turkey gun now.
I love it. All right, so last year you had a pretty wild hunt unfold, actually a couple.
Yep.
Melanistic turkey.
Melanistic turkeys.
A lot of people might not know what that was. I didn't really know until you told me about it a couple months ago. We were chatting on the phone, maybe in the fall. So what is a melanistic turkey?
Short and easy, a melanistic turkey is a black turkey. Normally, color variations are completely different, right, between the Merriams, Easterns, Rios, and Ocellated.
Yep.
But yeah, with a melanistic turkey, it's a black turkey. And you'll see it throughout Easterns, really throughout any of the subspecies. But it is very rare. They say 1 in about 50,000, give or take.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a controversial subject because some guys say there's, different heritage breeds or some, different form of turkey that people are just releasing, where other guys are saying there's wild birds. But, it was definitely a wild bird because when I first saw him, it was a very crazy story. So a bird came in and it got to 14 yards. I didn't think I had permission on the other side of this fence, and so this bird comes right up to it, doesn't cross it. So I don't shoot, and I watch him walk off. And my buddy Corey was getting everything on film and got back up to him, and he's like, dude, you have no idea what you didn't shoot. And he's like, why didn't you shoot? I'm like, dude, I couldn't shoot over the fence. But he's like, no, dummy. You could easily shoot over the fence because the property line is 200 yards over on the next fence. So it was just, one of those deals where I'm glad I didn't shoot because most guys
you never
would.
Know. Right,
And if you don't know, don't take that chance.
That's right.
But so I went out hunting him every single day, and just one of those lucky mornings where he came into the decoy, had the 410 with me, and put the hammer down, and it was a bird of a lifetime for sure. And we got tons of photos.
Yeah.
And then to follow that up, the next year, in a completely different spot, 30 miles away, I ended up finding a different melanistic turkey, and my buddy Corey goes and shoots that one and came into the decoys. This time we got it on film, so if anyone wants to watch that, the video just premiered. It is on the Prestige Outdoors page.
And that's your YouTube channel,
That's my
right?
YouTube channel, Yep, so go on there, check it out. And anybody that does watch it, because that's a really cool thing with all the science behind turkeys, is that we're constantly learning. And so we're going to have a bunch of biologists come over, really talk about them, and get to know more about what makes these birds what they are, and kind of the history behind it.
Are you going to film that, like a round table, or what do you think?
That would be really cool, Yeah, if we could get you guys involved and have everybody collectively,
that'd be
really
cool, man. Yeah, I think that's I've never heard of I didn't know what a melanistic turkey was. Maybe I've seen one, maybe I haven't. The Eastern, it's a little tougher, I think. We have a certain part in where we hunt a property that's got very caramel Easterns. Like there's brown caramel. Like it's just I don't know if it's just within that breed in that area or something, that strain, but it's unique, super unique. That's the only property I've seen something like that, but I don't think we've ever seen a black turkey. Yeah,
it's we've never seen them in the 15 plus years that we've hunted.
Yeah.
And then what we have seen is we've seen birds, that have a black primary or a couple black primary feathers, but never ones that have full black wings. So when we saw it, it was really, really cool.
So is it all black feathers, everything, or is it the wings mostly?
If you were to compare it to a Merriam's turkey, which is what we have out there, night and day difference with the tail fan. And that was the first thing I saw when my bird came in right away. And I asked him, I'm like, dude, was that a color phase? Because we've seen, the red phases and different stuff out in our area. But when I shot a red phase, I never knew it. But I still have everything. And the difference between that tail fan and a regular Merriam's tail fan is very distinguishable. And it was the same way with this melanistic turkey. You compare it to a tail fan, you can easily spot the differences. And then throughout the feathers, they definitely have more black in them.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, if you want to check out, go to Prestige Outdoors.
Yep, Prestige Outdoors.
On YouTube, and check that out. So this spring, what do you have laid out for you? We
got quite a few guys coming out hunting with us. Very excited for it. South Dakota is just starting to draw their tags. Last year they put into effect for this year coming forward a draw for the non-residents, just to try to help the turkeys come back. So it's a really good thing. For the next couple of years, it might be a little bit tougher to draw a tag, but that being said, it's hopefully
better for
the
population, in the short term at least.
Short term is going to help the long term to bring the birds back.
Good, man.
Yep.
Well, good luck. Hope you get another 25 notches in the old 410 this year. Now you'll have Longbeard TSS to run through it. And, keep us posted on how everything goes this year.
Thank you guys so much for including me on this. Very excited for it.
For sure, man. Thanks, Foster.
Thank you.
This portion of the Winchester Life Podcast has been brought to you by Winchester Pet. From the field to the front seat, the trusted name of Winchester has everything you need for the four-legged friend in your life. For all of your pet accessories, visit worldofwinchester.com. Walkers. For all your hearing protection needs, visit walkersgameear.com. The leader in hearing protection. Walkers. Folds of Honor. Providing educational scholarships to the spouses and children of fallen and disabled military service members. Honor their sacrifice, educate their legacy. To learn more, visit foldsofhonor.com.
So we've got Mandy Harling here at the NWTF, and this show, again, the energy, the buzz, never ceases to amaze me. You guys are incredible at putting this on, for one. I talked with Rob Keck earlier, obviously the OG, the legend. He had a big part of this. This is really his baby back in the beginning. So what is it that you do for NWTF?
Well, I'm the National Director of Education and Outreach Programs, and so I do all the fun things. I tell everybody I have the fun job.
Yeah.
I get to personally play a role in changing people's lives and the life-changing power of the outdoors.
Yeah.
So we have volunteers all across the country that host events to introduce people to hunting. And so I have a team of folks out all across the United States that are waking up thinking about the future of hunting and shooting.
Yeah.
And we collaborate with all different types of partners, from other NGOs to state wildlife agencies, federal agencies, and together we're working hard to impact the future.
Yeah. I mean, what, in my opinion, is not just an opinion, it's fact. It's the NWTF. It is the greatest success story in conservation, the wild turkey. And to see you guys continue to push and to educate in conservation side and the money that you guys can fundraise to do great things, it just never ceases to amaze me. You guys lead the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got a great crew, obviously. What is it? What's the special sauce for you guys?
Well, I think for us, what makes us unique is that we have a two-pronged mission. So it's not only conserving the wild turkey, but also preserving our hunting heritage. And that's been a part of our mission since day one. Yeah. So we don't have to fight to have our leaders and our board members support us in recruiting new hunters, because it's literally part of our mission.
It's part of what you do.
Yeah, so it's just part of the fabric of NWTF. So traditional programs, we started the Jakes program in 1981.
Wow,
Juniors acquiring knowledge, ethics, and sportsmanship.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, it's funny, I have people come up to me a lot and they'll say, "Oh, I was a Jakes member, and I'm still here."
Now they're
still
45.
Yeah. Exactly, that's right. But Jakes was our first program, and shortly after that, we started the Women in the Outdoors program.
Yeah.
And because we were hearing people say, females wanted their own path of learning about the outdoors, so we started that program. And then our other program is Wheeling Sportsman, which is for people who are disabled. And along the way, along that path, we've started really investing in the recruitment, retention, and reactivation of hunters. So you'll hear people talk about R3, which is really just the science behind how somebody comes to become a hunter. They have to go through these three processes: the recruitment, retention, reactivation. And for years and years, most NGOs just held recruitment. So we're really good at introducing people to what we love and then just kind of leaving them there.
Yeah.
So these programs engage people, give them that opportunity to try hunting. And you need more than one try, right? So it can be kind of complicated to learn how to hunt. So that's really what we're dedicated to. We have Turkey 101 courses. We have a lot of online resources for people. We have Field to Fork events where, the center, a lot of people are interested in learning to hunt because they want that source of lean, healthy meat. So we teach them how to do everything from field dressing to cooking. And so there are all these new entry points, and one of the things we're seeing, that of course there's been a decline in hunters, for since the 80s.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we're trying to do is look at audiences that we haven't typically, so they may not fit into that Jake's Women or Wheeling, silo. It could be somebody who's our age that didn't grow up hunting, but now they have an interest. So where do they fit in? And so we've also started some programming for adults and families. The other thing we've seen is this generation, they want to be together. They don't want to drop their kids off at an event, and they want to be with them and try archery with them and try shooting with them. And so that has been, what we've been up to over the last years. And Winchester has been a wonderful partner for us. Winchester not only, provides ammunition for some of those events that we've needed, but we also have a museum that's dedicated to the wild turkey that Winchester also has supported through the years. So we've brought in tens of thousands of youth to that museum.
And that's moving, right?
It is, yeah. We're really excited. We're moving that to the Wonders of Wildlife in Missouri.
Incredible place. Have you been there?
I have been there.
Crazy. Yeah, it's awesome.
I literally got lost, and there was a man that had his child. Apparently, they go every week, and he was like, "You look like I've seen you 3 times in this circle. Are you lost?" And I was like, "I have no idea how to get out." It is so big and so impactful. Just to be a part of something like that. We'll retain some of our history in Edgefield, in our new headquarters, but for the large part, all of those collections are moving to the Wonders of Wildlife, where they will be exposed to millions of people versus tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands, right? Yeah. It was a good move. There's no question. So what's on the horizon for the education and outreach? What's new?
Yeah. So one of the things I'm most excited about in the past 4 years, the National Wild Turkey Federation has spearheaded a national campaign called Hunt for Good. And one of the things that we're seeing with research is that, for the longest time, as I can remember, the large majority of people have supported hunting. They support legal, ethical hunting, but we're starting to see a decline in that. In fact, it's such a decline that it equates to 10 million people a year changing their opinion about hunting. So one of the other things NWTF is really great about is being an advocate for hunters and shooters. So when people go to vote, they remember, hunting's a good thing. But we also want this campaign to maybe spark curiosity with people. And so it's unique in that there are tens or 20, 10, 20, 30 ads that highlight different benefits of hunting. And they're non-traditional ads, so some of you would never, it's not your typical person holding a gun and an orange vest, but it might be Bigfoot or a zombie-looking ad, but it highlights one benefit of hunting. So hunt for the habitat, hunt for the water, hunt for the clarity, hunt for the tails, hunt for the adventure. All of these things, whether we're talking about fitness or being with your family, things that people might not necessarily attribute to hunting. So they can, they're served up this ad, they click on it, and then they learn more about hunting. And we really just want them to see that it's a good thing. We hope that they'll click the link and go look at their state agency and consider buying a license. But that's not the purpose. The purpose is awareness. So NWTF has worked with the Council to Advance Hunting and Shooting Sports, all kinds of people. So we need to put Winchester on that list.
We do.
It's the outdoor industry coming together and saying, hey, we realize we need to do everything we can to get people to support us.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you as an outdoorsman, as a turkey hunter. Thank you for everything you're doing to educate our youth and the forward thinking that you guys have. I'm excited about the future, especially when I know it's in good hands with somebody like you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Me too. I love this week. I look forward to it. My entire family, we look forward to it every year. And it's like a family reunion. Whether it's Jason Gilbertson or, like I mentioned, a child that has come through our programs, just seeing these volunteers and these people come together, there's something really special about it. So it's a lot of fun. We're glad to be here. Yeah, and it is Valentine's Day, and you have your heart sweater on. I do. I'm repping Valentine's Darcy today. Told me, my wife told me it was Valentine's Day today. I forgot, but you remind me. Well, I remembered, and I'm loud and proud here in my Valentine's. Well, it's nice to meet you, and good luck for the rest of the show. Thank you. Thanks. Nice to meet you, too. This portion of the Winchester Life Podcast has been brought to you by Winchester Safes,
Built with reliability and dependability, Winchester Safes offers proven security for your memories, possessions, and most importantly, your peace of mind. Visit winchestersafes.com to learn more. White Flyer Targets. For more than 130 years, White Flyer has provided the highest quality clay target for trap, skeet, and sporting clays. White Flyer, America's best. Birchwood Casey. Since 1948, serious shooters, avid collectors, and professional gunsmiths have relied on Birchwood Casey for shooting and gun care products that have stood the test of time. To learn more, visit birchwoodcasey.com.
Mr. Rob Keck is with us. Nice to see you. Nice to have you here on the podcast.
Thank you, Jason. Great to be here. And, you know, we're in the center. We're in the epicenter. Of Turkey right here.
Right here.
It's all happening.
Well, you did this. Come on now.
Well, I had a great team. I was fortunate enough to assemble just some great people.
Yeah.
People that had that passion about the wild turkey. And that's what's carried us here today with the crowds that you see. I never forget the first time we came to Operaland, 1985. When I signed that contract that we were going to fill this place, I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done? And you know, it not only filled it, it exceeded. Yeah. And they had to expand this place. And it's still growing. There's another expansion coming because the turkey folks are just, I mean, this is a Friday and you can't even walk in this place.
Can't even walk. The first time I came here, I think it was just this side. And then the other side got opened up, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's grown so much. And I think, you know, at NWTF, you were the CEO for 30 years, 78 to 08. You were really part of the biggest expansion in turkey hunting in history. And you know, to look at the youth movement now, it's crazy to look at the youth that are involved in turkey hunting now. It's changed.
Absolutely. Wednesday night at the Opry, I took 3 12-year-olds on there. The crowd went wild, and all of them very accomplished callers.
Yeah.
And, you know, the people just loved it because these kids, most of them, they called better than most of the people sitting in the audience.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we want to pass this great tradition, this great heritage on, we've got to start with a focus on the kids. And the Jake's program, which we grew since back in the early 80s, the expansion of Jake's events, youth hunts. You look around the country, there are special days that only youth can hunt, and I love it. And it's so good for the future of hunting, the future of conservation.
So you talked about the calling competition. You started that. That was your baby, right?
It was 1977, Hershey, Pennsylvania. You know, at that time I was the reigning world champion, and Tom Rogers, the founder, came and said, "Look, we want a national contest of prominence." So I put it together, and I didn't call in it, but the guy that took second place in the world that year in '76, he won it. And I said, "You're just lucky I didn't get into that competition."
Yeah.
And then after that in '77, I won the U.S. Open. And shortly thereafter, I came to work for the NWTF.
It's crazy. You know, you look at Ricky Joe Bishop, Preston Pittman, Chris Parrish, all these guys that when I grew up, Mark Drury, those were the guys who I kind of modeled my turkey hunting game, but there was no information about it. Turkey Call magazine, there was your show, but that was what, mid-90s maybe?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was. But you know what was really amazing about that? When I came to TNN, the old Nashville network.
That's right.
They had hunting in the third and fourth quarter.
Yep.
First and second was all fishing. It was that way on TNN and ESPN too.
Yep.
And I came to Nashville and I said, "Look, I want to put a turkey show on first and second quarter." They laughed at me. They said, "No, hunting, nobody's going to watch hunting in the first and second quarter." I said, "You don't understand turkey hunters." Took me 3 tries. They said, "Okay, we're going to put you in the death slot, 8:30 on Saturday morning." But you know what that really meant? That was the only hunting show. So guess who all the hunters tuned into?
Yep.
We went to prime time the very next year. And Turkey Call just exploded. And then, of course, when TNN was sold out, you know, we went to Outdoor Life Network, and it went around, ended up on the Outdoor Channel.
Yeah.
And we took 7 Golden Moose Awards during those years that I was there. And, You know, what a privilege it was to tell the story about the return of the wild turkey.
It's
unreal. I was so privileged to be in a place to help orchestrate, to bring them back where they were gone for well over 100 years.
Yeah. So talk about that it is the greatest conservation story in our country.
Yeah.
How were you able to be the catalyst for that movement?
Well, first of all, I was in the right place at the right time. And it was all about gathering like-minded people, people that wanted to learn more, people that wanted to give more, and a technical committee that was set up of all the turkey biologists around the country. They met at this national convention. We all worked together saying we want to bring it back, and they worked on the good science, the research that needed to be done, improvements on trap and transfer. In fact, went from the old cannon net to the rocket net to capture birds and move them. We helped broker between states. You know, when I came to the Federation, there were 0 turkeys in the state of Delaware. And we were able to broker some turkeys out of New York and New Jersey and Pennsylvania and then help move them around. And what was really cool, when the birds got established, State Game and Fish came to us to help us put together the regs of our first season. And they allowed 10% of those permits, which they still do today, to go to non-residents. I put in, I got drawn, and I was able to take the first turkey, and I'm not saying this egotistically, but the first turkey in 100 years. And what it meant to me to be able to see something that didn't exist when I came to work, to now have the opportunity for so many people. So many people to enjoy this great goblin fool.
Well, I personally have to thank you. I'm from Michigan. We had, my first turkey season, I think, was 1992, and it was a draw, and you were lucky to get one. They still had collars. They still were tracking them. They're trying to figure things out. But do you remember the conservation story for the Michigan wild turkey?
I do.
Tell me about it, because I've heard different things. I've heard our DNR tell the story, but I want to hear it from you.
Well, first of all, it's been a learning experience. State of Pennsylvania, they had a turkey farm. We knew that those pen-raised semi-wild birds would not establish wild turkeys. And Michigan started with some of those birds.
Yeah.
And they didn't expand. They wouldn't expand like wild trap birds would.
Sure.
And so through the years, when we saw that expansion wasn't happening in Michigan, the great state of Missouri, who really supplied eastern turkeys to a number of states, allowed birds to come in. They were generous enough, and that's what really got it going. And then the trap and transfer that took place in that state, it was all about then the volunteers that would help sit on bait sites. And as they were captured, they would help box them into the specially designed turkey boxes that NWTF provided. And they would help move them into the areas the biologists said was good habitat and release them. And that's the story really of so many states.
Yeah.
So many states.
Well,
in the country.
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because turkey hunting's become a massive passion for me and my family and my friends, and I've taken countless people on their first turkey hunts and seen a successful hunt come together. But for me, it's when we started, Greg Abbas is from my hometown.
Right.
A-Way Hunting Products, he taught us how to turkey hunt. And he's a 6-time state champ. I don't think he ever won a national calling competition, but he entered quite a few.
Sure. Really
good. And, that was kind of what I feel in northern Michigan. Like, we were kind of the epicenter in my hometown of turkey growth. And, I just thank you for making Michigan a priority back then. Yeah, it's been huge.
Well, we were able to also put it on a national stage. I'll never forget, I got to do the Mike Douglas show the night that Ronald Reagan was elected president.
Oh, wow.
I was on with Bob Hope, Ernest Borgnine, Hank Williams Jr.
Jeez.
And put turkey calls in their hands, and we called on national television. And then went from there to Tell the Truth and Johnny Carson. And, people began to say, man, there's something happening out there in the conservation world.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I felt was really important. We had to unlock this great secret of the return of the wild turkey and what it meant to the quality of life. You know, you don't have to be a turkey hunter to enjoy what the turkey does. It improves the quality. I never forget, I was up in New York, did a seminar up there, and there was an old lady come up to me. She said, I don't hunt, but she said, you have brought joy to my life. I lived in the same farmhouse that I was born in. And she said, we never had turkeys as a kid. Yeah. But now when I go out to my mailbox and I slam the mailbox door up on the ridge, a turkey gobbles back, and it makes my day.
Yeah,
that's what it's done. It's improved the quality of life for so many people.
It has. And turkey camps, and we now have turkey camps in Michigan.
Yeah.
I've been a part of some turkey camps in Missouri that are, 50, 60 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Way older than in Michigan, but it's just something special, and you can't explain what turkey hunting is in this show. Just looking at the buzz, it's my favorite show. I've been to all the shows. This is my favorite show in the history of shows.
Well, part of that is look at all these kids walking around.
That's right, yeah.
It's a family atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it's family friendly. And I think that warmth you don't get to feel, and with no disrespect to any of the other conservation groups, but I don't think you feel it at the level that you feel it right here.
Right. You don't.
It's something for everybody.
There is.
I mean, right now there's calling competitions going on for youth, intermediates, seniors. I'm going to, tomorrow with the Grand National Finals, going to be emceeing that, and I'm taking the winner on stage at the Grand Ole Opry next Saturday night.
Oh, geez. I think the move to bring it to Opryland Hotel has been a huge catalyst because it's family friendly here.
It is. Everything's under one roof.
Yeah.
And it all happens here, and it keeps people together. If you have a convention center but hotels outside, it doesn't create the same kind of warm feeling that it does here at Opryland.
Yeah.
And I want to just give a shout out to Colin Reed, my good friend, the chairman of Ryman Properties, who's a turkey hunter, by the way, for allowing us to grow this organization and support it. They support it in a big, big way.
Big way.
My good friend Johnny Mars, of course, founder of Bass Pro Shops. I remember bringing him here in 1995 as my honorary chairman. And he said, Rob, this has helped put our company on the direction of how important conservation is to our business, to our industry. And, of course, he's the greatest supporter of NWTF financially and otherwise.
Yeah. So you've hunted all around the country. In fact, you were the first person, Super Slam, 49 states.
Yeah.
You've taken a gobbler in every state. How long did that take you?
Well, I never started out
to do it, yeah,
as a goal.
Yeah.
I just was sort of knocking them off here and there and what have you. And it was, even before I went to the Federation, I hunted New York and Maryland, Ohio, West Virginia, Alabama. In fact, my first spring gobbler was in Alabama back in 1969. And so just as I got invited with chapter volunteers to hunt in their state, all of a sudden I realized that I've only got a couple more to go, and I can say I did it in every state. So it was spread out over a number of years. I mean, I wasn't in any kind of a rush to do that. And was just honored, and all of a sudden people started thinking, man, I want to do that too. In fact, this spring, I'm hopefully going to be the first to have completed hunting all the provinces of Canada that a non-resident alien can hunt. And I lucked out. I lucked out on a bid at auction for the very first and only Alberta Ministers spring turkey tag, and I got it. And that's been a real key. Last year I got to hunt New Brunswick. I've hunted in different provinces as well, like Ontario. But Alberta's going to be my first one in Canada this spring on the 15th of April.
Eastern's up there?
No, those are going to be Miriam's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a great story, and Outdoor Life's interested. They want to cover it because they covered when I took all 49.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we want to come back and do the Canadian Slam as well.
Do Canadian birds hunt different?
I don't think so.
Just
when
different
I was
terrain.
in New Brunswick, the only difference I saw is that they hadn't been hunted.
Yeah.
And they were pretty easy.
Yeah.
When they've never heard a call, they've never had any kind of pressure. It just, I don't know, it was It was fun. It was really fun.
Michigan in
For
the
sure.
90s, early 2000s. That's
Canadians,
how it was.
Canada is on fire with turkey hunting. They're back where we were 20 years ago.
Wow, really?
And I think it's a new frontier and a new opportunity because 2 weeks ago I was with the Minister of Natural Resources from Alberta, and he said, Rob, I want you to help us. We want to bring more turkeys in, trap and transfer. And I said, man, I'd be happy to help you. And I can hear it all across the board. I know they've got a call-making competition now in Ontario.
Wow.
And, it just, the spark that hit here has finally hit in Canada, and it is just spreading throughout.
I love it. So Winchester, since the beginning, has been a part of NWTF. How instrumental is their partnership been in the growth?
Let me tell you something. Ron Petty, when he was in charge of ammunition at Winchester back in the 80s, he said, Rob, I want to help you grow membership. He said, I'm going to put the promotion of NWTF on those boxes. In fact, he asked me to provide the artwork. I did the artwork on those first boxes of Winchester ammunition.
I remember them.
And every one of them had a membership application on the inside of the flap. And it grew us significantly. Our biggest growth came at the help of Winchester because Ron was committed, and of course Winchester, to help us grow. Invited our board of directors meetings at Nilo Farms.
Oh yeah, been there a lot of times.
And I look back at John Olin, and I look at the history of Winchester. They've understood conservation as well as any organization, any company out there. And that commitment runs deep, it runs long, and it continues today, not just with the Turkey Federation, but across the board.
Yeah.
And I salute Winchester for what they have done in establishing a conservation ethic here within the industry and all around the world, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they just did $1 million maybe a year or two ago in donations. I think they're probably way over that now.
I think they're way over that.
They're way over that
yeah,
now.
For sure.
Yeah, so, I know NWTF is near and dear to the heart of Winchester and continues to be. So, looking forward, what's there left to do in conservation?
Well, I think the big challenge we have now is that people want to have wildlife, but they don't know how to live with it. And as our human population expands, we've got to learn how to manage people and wildlife so that they can live in concert. It's really important that we have places for people to hunt, trying to find access. There's lots of public land, but a lot of people don't know how to find it.
Yeah.
And so we've got to facilitate that through every effort, whether it's on podcasts, whether it's in magazines, and all the printed material. People have to know that there's a place they can go to hunt.
Yeah.
And if they put a little effort in, they can get away from the crowds and have some really good hunting on public lands.
Yeah.
And I think that we also have to realize that we are becoming a smaller percentage of the overall population, we as hunters. And the politics of wildlife management is trumping, no pun intended, trumping the good science of wildlife management. So we have to be very, very active in the political side as well to make sure that those decisions, and many of them on the state level, not just nationally, but on the state level, are going to be good for hunting. I mean, you look what happened in Colorado with the mountain lion.
Right.
And it took an all-out effort. Johnny Morris led the way, but conservation groups, along with Bass Pro Shops and Hunter Nation.
It would have went through if that wouldn't have happened.
I know it. But it was more than mountain lions.
Yeah.
It was an attack on hunting in general. And I look at the work that so many did to try to handle the politics of that so that we do win. And that's why we've got to always be on guard. We've got to put our money where our mouth is and stand up when we have to. Because these political efforts, they take money. And it takes a lot of money. And we've got to be able to help excite people to the future that they're going to have to dig deeply into their pockets to help pay for conservation through these political efforts that are out there as well.
Yeah. Well, I speak on behalf of all turkey hunters in our country. Thank you for everything you've done in your career and continue to do and be a voice for the NWTF and turkey hunters across the country.
Well, I appreciate, Jason, you saying that. It's just an honor and a privilege for me. I mean, I pinch myself every day to think that I was lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time and able to gather so many like-minded people together, because it's not a one-man effort. It takes a whole team to get it done. And I'm just proud of the partnership that I've started with Winchester in the early days. You know, tomorrow going to be the Veterans Breakfast. That one is my favorite. It's one of the most special. And, you know, we've got to salute our veterans for what they've done to give us the freedom to hunt, the freedom to do these kind of things and assemble in a place like this.
Amen.
It's only after you leave this country and you go into these third world countries where some I've been, and I think about how lucky I am. Gary Player, the Hall of Fame golfer.
Yep, South Africa.
I had him on my radio show on Sirius XM on Outdoor World, and he said, Rob, I've played every golf course around the world. He said, there's no place like America. He said, you people are spoiled. He said, every day that you wake up, you ought to kiss the ground that you walk on for what you have. Yeah. And we've got to remind people about that. We do have the greatest nation in the world, but we've got to fight to keep it that way. We've got to do everything that we can to improve the quality of life, and certainly Winchester is a big part of that in the outdoor industry.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Mr. Rob Keck, thank you so much for stopping by.
You bet. Thanks for having me. Anytime.
This portion of the Winchester Life Podcast is brought to you by the National Wild Turkey Federation. The NWTF is dedicated to the conservation of the wild turkey and the preservation of our hunting heritage. Since its inception in 1973, the NWTF has provided the foundation for wild turkey conservation throughout North America. Conserving the wild turkey and preserving our hunting heritage has always been, and always will be, the backbone of the National Wild Turkey Federation. Visit their website at nwtf.org to join and learn more. The Winchester Life Podcast is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, Winchester Repeating Arms, Winchester Safes, White Flyer Targets, Folds of Honor, Birchwood Casey, Walkers, Winchester Pet, and Winchester Optics. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this week's show. Please make sure you click the follow button on your podcast apps so you never miss a new episode. This episode was produced by Aaron Cox and Jason Gilbertson, engineered by Jason Freer, directed by Chad Andrus, written and edited by Jason Brown, with behind-the-scenes photography by Kelsey Myers. I'm Jason Brown, and you've been listening to the Winchester Life Podcast. See you next time.